Alrighty, this is episode 1 of Time to Write. This is going to be on prose poetry. Now, if you do not like prose poetry, that is okay. This is just what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be comparing poetry, and then we're going to be comparing my prose poetry. Now, we have a few dot points that I want to get through with the overview. So, let me grab my notes as always. Now, what we're going to be doing is first off telling you what prose actually is and what poetry actually is. There may be some people who watch this who don't know what both are. Maybe you know what poetry is, maybe you don't know what prose is, maybe vice versa. Doesn't matter. We're going to be clearing that confusion. Then we're going to be comparing Songs of Sapphire by Catherine Fisher, which is poetry, I would say, at least. Then we're going to be looking at my prose poetry. And then, yeah, that's really about it. So let's actually get into the video. Now, proses are like regular speech. Proses are like what you see in articles, what you see in stories, what you see really everywhere. It is the regular speech, right? Proses don't really follow a rhythmic or a rhyme per se. They're more structured like a paragraph, which really sets them apart. Poetry is more often artistic and uses set rhythm and rhyme to make a structure. So sometimes you'll see 3 to 4 words and then a full stop, a hard break, a cutoff, they would say. They use devices such as metaphors and symbolism, and since it's free of writing, it is more bound to that creative field, so it really doesn't have any rules. Now in prose poetry, it's really blending both of them together. So in prose poetry, you get the benefits of having freedom within the prose, so you don't need to have a set rhyme. In prose poetry, you can have both the figurative language and the metaphors of poetry combined with the prose, so you can mix and match them together to create a powerful sentence, or a powerful paragraph, sorry. Prose poetry can be super powerful because it takes the flowiness and easiness of prose and it puts them into the figurative language of poetry. Meaning, you've most likely seen prose poetry before. It may not have been titled prose poetry, but you'll see in a second once I show you this example that prose poetry really is just a structured like poetry paragraph, really. It doesn't follow rhyme, but it still has that language and imagery that makes it poetry. Now let's give you an example of poetry so you can actually know what prose and poetry is. So ready? This is gonna be my thing now. Dring! As you can see here, we have the poetry. Now this, I have it on here now, I've learned from my mistakes. But this is the Song of Sapphire by Catherine Fisher, sorry. It follows, walls have ears, doors have eyes, trees have voices, beasts tell lies, beware the rain, beware the snow, beware the man you think you know. It is a beautiful piece, and I really adore this piece of poetry. Yeah, this is poetry. It's very good because you can see the rhyme. It may not rhyme within the first 6 or 7 lines, but right at the end it hits you with that rhyme language, and you're like, whoa, beware the man you think you know. It's very powerful. And not only that, but the message she's trying to convey with this is very powerful in that too. She's trying to convey that you gotta beware of the rain, you gotta beware of the snow, you gotta beware of the man you think you know. Now I'm gonna give you an example of prose poetry. Now this is a piece I actually wrote on myself and it pretty much inspired me to make this channel, so bear with. This is A Thistle in the Wind. Ready? Dream! Now this is just the first line, so then it has more dramatic effect because you got to remember this is a paragraph. It may not have that rhyming structure, but it is a paragraph. Now this passage follows as, a thistle swung in the wind, brimmed to a tight hat. Nothing spoke louder than the howling wind against the long grass. As he fell gracefully like a feather against water, he couldn't help but remember his own words. As the almost aggressive wind picked the hat right off the boy, he reflected. He was both sad and proud of his final breaths, understanding that, as hard as the wind blew, he could never face it. It was in his last breath this occurred to him. That hat never meant anything. It was always about the howling wind. Now this is a piece of Prose poetry because, as you can see, it's a whole paragraph. It follows Prose, there's no rhyming structure, but it still has that figurative language. Like in the line where it says, he couldn't help but remember his own words. I use this figuratively to say all of his words. His own words in this passage mean everything he's ever said before. He couldn't help but remember everything he said before. I use that to shorten it. And then towards the end, I put in he was both sad and proud of his final breaths. This conveys to the reader that he's dying, he's going to die in the next few lines. But this really puts an emotional, almost stress on the reader that, oh my God, he's in long grass with a howling wind and he's gonna die, but why didn't you tell me that at the start? And it's really the climax of the paragraph. It's to show that the boy is about to die. And it was in his last breath this occurred to him, that hat never meant anything. It was always about the howling wind. This I use figuratively to symbolize that it's not about what's in life, it's not about the hat, but it's about what pushes against you. It's about the howling wind, right? You may treasure a hat, you may treasure something, you may treasure someone, but at the end of the day, you gotta recognize and you gotta put your hand on your hat and you gotta look and you gotta go, where is the howling wind? Because one day the howling wind will take your hat and it will pick it right off you and it will never see you again. And until that day comes, beware of the man you think you know. Yeah, that's really all I have to say for this video. It's a quick, short one, as always. I will want to preface that in the coming days, we are going to do a National Writers Month style video. I may give tips and tricks of what helped last time. May do that. I may even share some of my work. And then for the entire of November, we will be logging the entire process that I do on YouTube. Maybe not the entire process, but we'll be logging a great deal of it on YouTube. So if you did like my Prose poetry, if you did like the Songs of Sapphire, go check out that book. Ready? Here's the book that it comes from. Ching! I haven't read this book, but I might even right now. Might go look after this video and see how much it is to buy. Have it in hand so then I can show it off, you know? But if you do like that poem, go buy the book. That's where it comes from. If you like my poem, or not my poem, my Prose poetry, then there's a whole channel dedicated to that. And the first video on this channel is actually like it's almost like a lost footage type video, but it has the Prose poetry within it. So if you really do want to see a different style of what I was thinking sort of while making the Prose poetry, that's on my channel. Yeah, if you like this episode of Time to Write, episode 1, Prose poetry, I just want to get this video out to people. I want to show them not only my work, but other people's work. And yeah, that's about it. So this is TTW signing off yet again. Episode 1, Prose poetry. Episode 2 should be National Writers Month, and then we'll do log series, which we'll put on YouTube. And that's really all I gotta say. It's a quick video today, but has deep meaning. Remember, walls have ears, doors have eyes, trees have voices, beasts tell lies. Beware the rain, beware the snow, and beware the man you think you know.